Lies. No species can do that. Alien princess challenges human biology. Beginning the arrival of the princess. The day the imperial delegation from the Veari Empire arrived at Earth's orbital station, the world below collectively held its breath. For centuries, humans had imagined themselves insignificant compared to the vastness of the galaxy. Yet, against all expectations of Veari, an empire stretching across 9 star systems had reached out first. Their flagship, Aurora's crown, hung in orbit like a blade of starlight, its hull shimmering with strange alloys. Diplomats, scientists, and military leaders gathered in the grand chamber of the station, eager to witness history. Among the delegation was someone who drew more eyes than even the Emperor's envoys, Princess Zevera the Veari. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, her crystalline skin glinting like violet glass under the artificial lights. Her eyes were rings of gold with no pupils, and her presence radiated authority. The Veari had a rigid sense of superiority, and Zevera embodied it with every gesture. When Earth scientists introduced themselves, she barely bowed. When they presented samples of human technological progress, she dismissed them as primitive toys. But the real insult came when she heard about human biology. Resilience, she repeated, her voice cold and sharp, carrying the resonance of her species. You claim your kind can run for hours without collapsing, that wounds inflicted upon your flesh seal themselves without machinery, that you can survive extremes of cold and heat. Lies. No species can do that. Even our genetically perfected warriors collapse after 30 minutes of strain. You dare claim humans can endure more. Murmurs filled the chamber. The human delegation shifted uncomfortably. Then Dr. Adrian Cole, the biologist chosen to represent Earth, stepped forward. With all respect, Princess, we don't claim it, we live it. Our biology was forged under hostile skies, among predators stronger than us. We survived not because we were the fastest or the strongest, but because our bodies endure. Zavara's gaze pierced him. Prove it. Before my empire, prove that this claim is not fabrication. If even one demonstration fails, the treaty negotiations end. Middle, the challenge of endurance. Thus began a series of trials that would pit a single human body against the disbelief of an interstellar empire. The first test took place in the observation dome. Veari soldiers stood in gleaming armor, their faces unreadable, while Zevera watched from her elevated throne. Adrian was stripped of any enhancements, his body clothed only in simple garments, while machines monitored his vitals. Trial 1, Endurance, Zevera announced. Our champions collapse after sustained exertion. Show me your resilience, human. A treadmill-like device, crafted from Veari technology, stretched before him. The incline rose sharply, simulating alien gravity twice Earth's norm. Adrian began to run. At first, the Veari sneered. They expected collapse in minutes. But Adrian kept his rhythm, sweat glistening across his skin. 10 minutes passed. 20. His breathing grew labored, but still he ran. 40 minutes later, a murmur of unease rippled through the alien crowd. By the time an hour struck, the princess herself leaned forward, eyes narrowed. Finally, Adrian stumbled off the machine, collapsing to his knees. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he raised a hand. Still alive. The Veari physicians examined him in disbelief. His organs showed no sign of permanent damage. His cells had endured the stress with an efficiency they found impossible. Zevera scowled. Coincidence. An outlier. The second trial came the next day. This time, the princess demanded proof of healing. You claim your flesh closes wounds on its own. That is absurd. Show us. A sterile chamber was prepared. With careful consent, a shallow incision was made across Adrian's forearm under Veari supervision. Alien healers observed as crimson blood welled up. They expected uncontrolled hemorrhage or shock. Instead, to their amazement, the wound clotted within minutes, the bleeding slowed, and by the hour's end, new tissue had already begun to knit. The princess' golden eyes widened. Impossible. Our warriors bleed until sealed by nanites. How can simple flesh command itself to mend? Adrian, pale but steady, replied, because our bodies had no other choice. No healers in the wild, just a body learning to survive. The princess dismissed it again, though unease crept into her voice. The third trial pushed deeper. Exposure. Your kind claims tolerance to both cold and heat. Show me. Adrian was placed in a sealed environment chamber. The temperature plummeted below freezing. Frost crept along the glass. His skin flushed, his body shivered violently, but he lived. Hours later, the temperature soared. His body drenched in sweat, his skin flushed, his heart raced, but he endured. When finally released, Adrian collapsed into a chair, utterly drained. Yet alive, breathing, smiling faintly. The Veari soldiers whispered among themselves. Some looked at him with something close to respect. But the princess still resisted. This is unnatural. Your kind should not exist. Biology does not permit such things. Adrian chuckled hoarsely. And yet here I stand. The turning point, challenge of death. Frustrated and unwilling to yield, Princess Zevera demanded one final test, an ordeal so severe it bordered on cruelty. You claim resilience. Then prove it against death itself. Gasps filled the chamber. The Emperor's envoys shifted nervously, but Zavara's word was law in her mission. She commanded Adrian be subjected to simulated suffocation, monitored, controlled, but still lethal if unchecked. The human delegation protested, but Adrian raised a hand. If this is what it takes to prove us, then so be it. Within the chamber, oxygen was reduced. The Veari audience expected immediate collapse. Their species required constant oxygenation. Even seconds without it spelled doom. Adrian fought for every breath. His body writhed, his chest heaved, yet he remained conscious far longer than they thought possible. 2 minutes passed. Then 3. His vision blurred, but he clung to awareness. By 4, alarm sounded. His heart pounded erratically. At the brink, Zevera herself shouted, "Enough!" The chamber filled with oxygen, and Adrian collapsed onto the floor, gasping, his body starred yet alive. The alien stared in stunned silence. For minutes, one Veari physician whispered, "Without oxygen, and he survives." No machine sustains him. His own flesh defies extinction. For the first time, Princess Zevera faltered. Her lips parted, but no words came. She, heir to an empire of science and power, could not reconcile what she had seen. Ending respect earned. The trials ended, but the tension lingered. Adrian spent days recovering under medical supervision, his body taxed beyond limits. Yet every alien who had doubted him now approached with quiet reverence. Soldiers bowed slightly. Scientists asked questions with humility. The myth of human fragility was shattered. At the final summit, the princess stood before the assembly. Her crystalline skin shimmered faintly, but her expression was solemn. "I came to dismiss this species," she admitted, her voice carrying across the chamber. "I believe them weak, inefficient, a curiosity of evolution. Yet I have seen with my own eyes endurance beyond calculation, healing without technology, survival in the face of annihilation. These are not lies. These are truths carved in flesh." She turned to Adrian, who stood bruised but proud. "Human, you have shamed my arrogance. And in doing so, you have earned my respect. The Veari Empire will sign treaty with Earth, not as conquerors, but as allies." A roar of approval echoed through the chamber. Later, in private, Zevera approached Adrian once more. "Tell me, human, what is the source of this resilience? What secret drives your flesh to endure?" Adrian smiled faintly, his eyes tired but burning with quiet pride. "It's simple, princess. We learned long ago that the universe doesn't care if we live or die. So we made our bodies care for themselves. We adapt. We endure. We survive. That is what it means to be human." The princess bowed her crystalline head, a gesture of honor. For the first time, an alien empire looked at Earth not as weak prey, but as equals forged by hardship. And so, humanity's greatest strength was revealed not in weapons or machines, but in the biology every person carried inside them, a stubborn refusal to yield.